Welcome back to flameflash.net. We're at episode 19 now. I'm pretty happy with myself. Who knows if anybody's actually listening out there? But I don't care. Well, yes I do, but I'm having fun doing this regardless. So, hope you're stopping by. I'm Flame Flash, if you didn't already realize. Flame Flash on the PlayStation Network, Flame Flash 82 on Xbox Live, though currently I don't have an active Xbox Live account. And flameflash.net is where you can see everything about the podcast if you so choose. Twitter also has me, Flameflash. And flameflash.net has its own fan page on Facebook too, if you prefer to use your real name. But, as always, we start off the show with the games that were played in the last week. So let's get started. Can't remember if I hit Altered Beast on the show last week. I think I played it after recording last week. And it's definitely just a trophy game at this point for a PlayStation Network. It doesn't hold up very well after all of these years. I certainly have some both positive and negative flashbacks from playing it, but it's just not impressive, and I can't believe at one point in time this was one of those $40 games that kids were asking their parents to buy on the shelf. You get so much more now for your $40. For instance, like Star Fox 64 3DS. Wow! An N64 game ramped up to 3D quality on the 3DS. I think the 3DS is capable of at least GameCube graphics. Maybe just N64, but it looks better than the N64, so I'd think it would be GameCube graphics. I haven't picked it up yet, so I'll move on. What I have picked up is Mega Man Zero Collection for the DS, not 3DS. This was nice and cheap on Amazon, and I just couldn't pass it up, being a Mega Man X fan. I am so far not disappointed either. Haven't been able to play it much yet. The only gripe I have is that since it was originally a Game Boy Advance game, they didn't do much for the controller mapping. So you don't have the X and Y buttons on the Game Boy Advance, and so they don't remap, say, Zero's sword to use one of the X and Y buttons, and instead you're still tapping R. R, that's right. Happy Internet Pirate Day. That was Monday. Actually have a coworker. Yes, that's right. I'm going to venture out into the world of work for just a moment. But only because he's a really cool guy who celebrated Pirates Day by hanging up a skull and crossbones flag. I know there's a name for that. The Jolly Roger, I think is what it is, in his cubicle. And just for the Monday, took it down right afterwards. But obviously a fan of internet culture, and it's always nice to run into a fellow one of those. Oddly, we're rarer in real life than we are on the web. Go figure. Nyan Cat! Sorry. Super Mario Bros. Wii. Touched on that a little bit more. I think we unlocked, again, the World 8-3. It's the one that you have to take the secret entrance near the beginning of World 8, and then a brand new rock bridge pops up to hop through the lava. The kids were very happy to do that. Astro Tripper. This would be a PlayStation Network game that I got thanks to PlayStation Plus. And who of you remembers the classic game Defender? That's this. We can finally play Defender again. That's what it feels like to me. No, I haven't rescued people falling from the aliens yet, but then those were just little pixel sticks back in the day, so I'm not even sure they were people, but that's what my imagination at least made them to be. But you still are flying around on a two-dimensional plane, back and forth, shooting, invading aliens. The interesting thing here is you can fall off, unlike Defender, but then Defender you would crash into, say, the ground, and I think there was a ceiling as well. So, same principle. Instead of crashing into something, you're simply falling off the playing board. Portal 2, a little bit of more of Portal 2. Loving the game, absolutely loving it. Oldest son also is highly impressed. He, of course, isn't as far as I am, and we're going to keep it that way just in case something does crop up that's inappropriate. But GLaDOS mocking you? Oh, spoilers, sorry. Not really, since it's really close to the beginning of the game that happens anyway. Yes, GLaDOS gets turned back on. It's an older game at this point anyway, Portal 2, so deal with it. But GLaDOS mocks you. It's a friendly, quasi-friendly mocking. There's definitely some animosity in the background, but a 9-year-old easily ignores it. So, it's fine so far. Plants vs. Zombies. Yes, I played it again. The kids enjoy watching me play this game. I don't understand why, but they do. Especially the youngling boy, the 3-year-old. He'll crawl into my lap and cheer on the plants as they blast away at the rah-rahs. But finally beat it again. I had lost my save when Steam upgraded to the Game of the Year edition. I still really miss the Michael Jackson Disco Zombie. I hate that they changed it to some just generic Disco Zombie. I understand they probably had to do so for legal reasons, but they could have gotten away with it. It's a parody. Back to You Don't Know Jack a little bit. Got quite a few trophies in there recently, and there's not much more I can say. This is still a great game for couples to play together in the evening. Unwind, laugh, pause. Pause your games. If you're playing a 2-player game, you're talking to your friend, your spouse, your child, neat conversation point crops up, pause. Do the same with movies. Do not be afraid of that pause button. That's why you're watching it on DVD or Blu-ray or, heaven forbid, VHS. So you can pause and go to the bathroom or not have to suffer through commercials from cable. Pause. Talk. Let these games, let movies, let TV shows inspire conversation. Don't just veg out. That's why, to me, video games are such a great jumping off point for the podcast, because I'm talking. It's inspiring me to share ideas. It'll do the same for you at home with your family, if you let it. Risk Factions. Beat the campaign. Highly entertaining game. I'm wary of going online only because I know I will get my butt kicked. And I will get my butt kicked heavily and without mercy. So we'll see about that. Maybe I'll play with the kids instead. Evil cackle insert here, please. Mario Golf or NES, what is this called? NES Open Tournament Golf. 3DS. This is one of those Nintendo Ambassador games. And holy crap, the controls stink. Takes a little bit to get used to. There's that golf is one of those strange games that until Connect and PlayStation Move and Wii Motion Plus, you just couldn't get that real swing to go. And so they use this funky trigger timing that unless you have the timing down, your ball's going to go into the rough. I'm still torn, however, if I like the classic golf games or the modern golf games. Only because modern golf games for a family of 6 means I don't get to play it very often, because otherwise I'm going to be hitting somebody in the head with a Wii remote. That's not fun. Super Mario Brothers. Also a visit from the 3DS Ambassador Program. Zipped my way all the way to level 8-4, but then had to stop. The kids needed to get out of the bath. The 3DS for classic gaming, or DS Lite if you prefer. These are great systems to sit down and actually enjoy a real game. I don't know why I haven't been interested in buying into portable games on smartphones. Maybe it's because I have an Android smartphone, but we don't have a lot of games on the iPad either. The ones we do are of high quality and mostly gotten for free, but we just don't game with our phone or iPad. They're for other things like media or Twitter. Twitter is currently vibrating in my pocket, it seems. I'll have to check that after the show. But Magic the Gathering 2012, revisited that, actually went online. I think this is the first time I've gone online with a game in ages. But you know what? I didn't have to talk to anybody because I'm not on Xbox Live expected to wear a headset all the time. Sure, I could have activated my Bluetooth headset that I use for my phone, but I didn't have to. I could just show up in game, which is how it should be, especially a game like Magic the Gathering. Yes, it's a great social game, but when playing online, why does it need to be? Though I seriously do need to pick up the expansion pack, because what we were doing was playing the Arch Nemesis mode, which gives you a computer-controlled deck versus up to 3 human players in regular decks. Now, what I mean is the Arch Enemy computer-controlled deck has 40 life, double the normal. And he has a special side deck that every turn he gets to activate a card from it. And this card has extra abilities above and beyond his own hand. Whether that's gain 2 land all of a sudden, get a bunch of creatures, etc. It's a way to try to help balance the playing field in the arch enemy's favor so that he can stand up to 60 life that he has to take out versus his 40. Personally, I think it unbalances things. The arch enemy needs to just say maybe start with mana, but I'm still enjoying the mode, just not as much as the single player campaign. So I may just go back to the revenge mode, which is another single player 1v1 campaign after you've beaten the main campaign. And finally, World of Warcraft Brewfest. World of Warcraft Brewfest started yesterday. So you have plenty of time to still log in and do whatever you want to do and grab all of the neat little doohickeys out of Brewfest. This year they've added a new object, brand new object from my memory, a keg on a pony. Before there was just the pony keg and you'd put that on the ground and be able to drink from it. Well, now it's a pony carrying a keg, or at least that's my understanding from reading the tooltip. I haven't seen one yet. Nobody has gotten the 200 tokens it takes to get one yet. And likely because that 200 tokens for most people are probably going to go to the meta achievement of Brew of the Month Club. You need that to get the title. You don't need the pony with the keg to get the title. Personally, I have the title. I have the title on multiple characters, so I'm going for that keg on the pony. And then on those that I don't, well, I'll probably go for Brew of the Month Club. I don't know why a holiday in WoW that's so heavily alcoholic when all I drink is water and Pepsi and Sierra Mist is so appealing to me, but it feels like you have more control and possibly a little bit more skill for this holiday as opposed to Fire Festival in the summer where all you have to do is stand under the torch's shadow and try to catch it. That's more luck thanks to the randomness and very bad handling of it like they did this last year. Or you toss a torch at the urn that has an arrow over it. That's just not as entertaining as beating a ram so that you can go pick up a keg and then deliver it to more thirsty dwarves or orcs. I enjoy it. Plus, there are some great trinkets to be had if you're a max level or level 84 character, and go fight the boss. This holiday has a boss. Go forth and celebrate it. You'll get some great trinkets out of the deal. In other news, because I think I've probably rambled on about how awesome Brewfest is, there is now a Sony class action lawsuit waiver. There was a recent PS3 firmware update. It fixed some of the PlayStation Plus auto update, auto sync, auto save issues. My PlayStation was actually on when I came down this morning because I queued up a 5 gig demo of the game Bolt, Disney's Bolt. But Sony in this new little waiver says if you want to continue to use the service, you need to agree that you're not going to join a class action lawsuit to sue us for our outage. Personally, I'm fine with that because I wasn't planning on joining one anyway or starting one. Their apology games were good enough for me. Yes, it's an included service in the buying of the system, but it's an included service of the buying of the system that they didn't have any power over when it was going to come back up if they wanted to be sure it was going to work properly. In related news, the DC Online universe is going free to play. It's another MMO, but it's going to be free to play come next month, so you have no excuse to at least try it out. I know I'm going to. I'm going to give it a shot on the PS3, maybe plug in a USB keyboard, and see what there is to see. After all, you can go and fight beside Superman or Batman or some of the other DC comic heroes. That's the plus, supposedly, to DC Universe Online compared to Champions Online, which are just a bunch of generic heroes. And a game I wasn't overly impressed with. If you haven't noticed already, Facebook changed again. I'm not overly impressed. It feels a little bit too much like Google+, but nobody seems to want to join me in a mass exodus to Twitter. So unless I want to sit and tweet by myself, I'll probably eventually live with it for now. Hate it. But knowing Facebook, like Midwestern weather, it's going to change again. All you have to do is give it a tiny bit of time. Google Wallet launches on select Samsung phones. I suppose when it goes more live, supposedly you're going to get a complimentary $10 to spend, but who actually is going to be accepting Google Wallet money? Kind of have to wait and see who does that before caring. Like Blizzard, for instance, now accepts PayPal. That's big. Google Wallet simply launching, not so much. Oh, that's right. There was another big announcement. Netflix splits. So, if you have a Netflix account, you already are, and if you've been a listener, you already know I've had a bit of umbrage against Netflix regarding their service split cost plan, because you didn't gain any value to pay more. You now pay separately for streaming and DVDs coming to your home. Well, now they're going to do a even harder split, and Netflix is going to be their streaming service, and Qwikster, Qwikster, yeah, go figure, is going to be their DVD service, and video game service, and Blu-ray service. Yes, I said video games. However, Blu-rays cost you an extra $4 fee to tack onto your account. What are they going to do with video games? Ugh. I might not be using it for that. Certainly don't use it for Blu-rays. But I think this is a really bad idea for the customers. It's probably a great idea for the company, but that is until you consider you're going to tick off a lot of customers, and they're going to leave. Wired.com had a great article, though they left out Xbox and PS3 console video stores, comparing the other streaming and buying and renting services that are out there competing with Netflix and Qwikster. And annoyingly enough, Netflix and Qwikster still are winning so far. This is the time that it would be perfectly ripe for somebody to jump in and do what Netflix used to do and steal everybody up. It's just time. Netflix is going to take for granted the user base that brought them to life and popularity, the DVD crowd. Then somebody else deserves to swoop in and steal them. I know streaming is more impressive, it's more on demand. However, you can't get everything streaming because of the licensing. Because content owners still don't seem to understand that streaming is the future. And you need a good platform with a lot of customers to see your content streaming. Trying to sell it one-off and streaming, sure, iTunes Store probably does quite well, but it's not going to bring you as many people as a subscription-based model similar to cable. But Qwikster, you're going to get separate queues. So Netflix and Qwikster are going to have their own separate queues. No more, hey, this movie on my DVD queue, I can now stream it. I don't have to wait for a disc. I don't have to wait until another slot opens up. I can watch it now. And Qwikster, hey, This is no longer on Netflix. I can't stream it, but I can get the disc. That integration was integral to my enjoyment of Netflix. Because there it was, all that information on one queue. And I'm going to have to manage two. Not cool, Netflix, Qwikster, whoever you are. Not cool. They don't even have a solution for it. Give us a plugin or something on the site. Some kind of linking. Heck, I posted to my Twitter and my Facebook account from Ustream that I was about to record episode 19. So, if I can do that, why can't they get the linking technology down enough so that when I have a video on Qwikster and it suddenly goes streaming, they can tell me. It's not like they're selling it off. They're just changing the name and the branding so that their streaming service can stay alive. I guess they're bleeding pretty heavily of either customers or just the cost of DVDs in general. And with the USPS, United States Postal Service, being slightly in trouble, I can understand them wanting to split off a little bit. But talk to us, communicate to us. The blog post you did, Netflix, wasn't enough. In fact, it was awful. It was almost worse than the price hike one. That's the issue. That's the issue with Facebook. Communicate with us on why this is changing and what changed. Hey, this change is coming. This is what we're hoping it'll do for you. If you don't want it to kick in, go here and change some settings, and it will at least feel a little bit more like it was previously. It won't be exact, but it'll at least feel slightly better. Communication is the root of a positive relationship with anybody. I think I've hammered that one home before. Dead horse moment! But I've ranted, I've raved, and I want to go drinking in Brewfest. So, if you have any thoughts, suggestions, comments, podcast at flameflash.net. Or hit me up on Twitter, or hit us up on Facebook. Flameflash.net, Facebook, Flameflash on Twitter. Thanks for stopping by. See you on episode 20.